Ruins of abandoned apartment blocks loom out of the mist. We're speeding towards Hashima Island, 17 kilometers off the coast of Nagasaki.
Looks so eerie and so sort of definite.
We're not travelling in quite the style James Bond did. But some of you may recognise the island from the latest Bond movie, Skyfall.
Am I right?
The inspiration for the villain's home and place where the Bond girl meets her end. Built in Pinewood Studios, but modelled on Hashima. In reality, this was once a bustling metropolis, nearly 60 years ago, one of the most densely populated places on Earth. Built above a rich coal seam, the mines here fueled Japan's wartime efforts and its post-war industrial growth. At its peak in 1959, more than 5,000 people housed in crowded apartment blocks on this tiny 16-acre patch of rock. Tomoji Kobata shows us where he lived in 1961. It reminded me of Hong Kong, he says. Cooking hours were quite noisy, wives borrowing seasoning and exchanging food they couldn't eat. No one needed to lock the door. X-rays in the hospital. The faded imprints of lungs still visible. Miners here regularly screened for lung diseases. The temperature was about 35 degrees Celsius down the mine, he tells me. The humidity was over 95%. It was like doing hard labour in a sauna. The lure of easy money brought Kobata here, but after a year he left. Conditions on the island too unforgiving. These steps were known as the steps to hell. And although many people describe life on the island as like one big, happy family, and many people said they didn't want to leave, for the Koreans and the Chinese prisoners of war who were brought here to work in the mines during World War II, this was a form of hell. In the Peace Museum in nearby Nagasaki, testimonies from some of the forced labourers brought to Hashima during the days of Japan's empire. The common stories I would hear from Korean and Chinese labourers was that they were enormously hungry, the director says. They said you'd feed animals more. Many tried to escape, but if they were discovered, they were taken back and tortured almost to death. A very limited part of the island, far away from the precarious ruins, is now open to visitors. In the last 3 years, some 300,000 have come here, and Nagasaki wants to make Hashima a World Heritage Site. But Korea objects. While Japan has offered a general apology for the damage and suffering caused by its colonial rule and wartime aggression, Hashima remains an eerie symbol of wartime wounds that will not heal. Diana Magnay, CNN, Hashima Island, Japan.